So it is said that during the time of Buddha, there were moments in which Buddha introduced his disciples to other holy beings that could help them on their path. So one thing which it's very clear for me is that on one side, our spiritual path, it's something that it's alone in the sense that no one can do for us. No one can develop love for us, no one can develop wisdom for us, no one can deal with our own traumas and sufferings and everything else, we need to do. No one can walk for us. But at the same time, we do need actually to have some support. We do need actually... No problem. Okay. At the same time on our path, we do need to have to interact with others. We are not alone. And as we said many times, every interaction inevitably brings a transformation. So to be together with other beings, which can be people, animal, it doesn't matter the form of manifestation that it will come. But whenever we interact, we transform. So we need each other. So on one side, the path, it's a lonely path in the sense that no one can walk for us. On the other side, it's a lonely path that must be done in company. So we are not alone. No? And in this process of not being alone, it's not that we want to ask others to do for us. We need to ask support. It's like if we need to go on a long journey walking, but sometimes just walking with someone else already makes the journey easier. Sometimes someone can give us the hand, can show us a little bit the path, can explain us, oh, be careful, don't walk like this, don't do like that, can give us some help. And sometimes just by being in their presence is already helping us on our own path. So, in the time of Buddha, there were different moments in which Buddha introduced his disciples to other beings, which were beings that reached the state of enlightenment, and that had a particular connection, and that they were beings that actually reached enlightenment much before Buddha Shakyamuni. So, Buddha Shakyamuni came and introduced them, saying, oh, look here, I'd like to introduce you to this being. Like, for example, when we do the Vajranaki prayer, some of you know this. This is actually the story when Buddha is introducing his disciples to this deity. And one of the most important ones that Buddha have introduced in his lifetime is Tara. So basically, there is a fundamental difference when it comes, for example, to practices such as, let's say, Guya Samaja, or Yamantaka, or Vajrayogini and Heruka, and a practice such like Tara, for example. One of the main differences is that when it comes to practices such as Yamantaka, Kalachakra, Guya Samaja, Heruka Chakra Sambara, Vajrayogini, and all these other, many of these practices, these were moments in which Buddha manifested himself in the aspect of these different holy beings in order to show a path. Was, okay, here I give you a method for enlightenment through this archetype, through this deity. In the case of Tara, it's when Buddha said, look, I'm going to introduce you to this holy being that can help you on your path. Then it comes also with the aspect after of developing like an archetype and all of that, but it starts by introducing to a holy being. So in the case of Tara, there is the Tantra of Tara, where Buddha does this introduction. And it was originally one princess, this long time before Buddha Shakyamuni. In the text is explained, it gives some idea of time, but it's very difficult really to translate to our ways of counting time nowadays. Anyhow, some long time before Buddha Shakyamuni, Buddha Shakyamuni is said to be the third Buddha of this era. And when we talk about one era, my way of understanding, one era is like one solar system lifetime. That's what we mean more or less by an era. Because when it says the end of this area, for example, it is explained that it will be through fire. So basically, it will get warmer and warmer and warmer, some signs we are getting. But this is far away from what it means. And then in one moment, this world as we know it, it will be destroyed through fire. And then, but at the same time, there are many other thousands others being born and in many other ways. So when we talk about one era, just to say, it means the lifetime, that's how I see, of one solar system, basically, of one planet, from beginning to end. So in this, the lifetime of this planet, of this existence as we know it, it is described that there will be 1,002 Buddhas. And Buddha Shakyamuni is the third one. Okay, the fourth would be Buddha Maitreya. No? So, in a time before Buddha Shakyamuni, long before, there was this lady. Her name was Yeshedawa. Yeshedawa was Chandragyana in Sanskrit, which the meaning is she was a princess, and she was the princess of the wisdom of the moon, or the moon wisdom, lunar wisdom. That was her name. And this princess, she was extremely kind and very wise, and she had this profound urge to help others. So she would give a lot of food, and she would help the poor, and she would help everyone. And at one point, she developed some high levels of concentration. So she would enter early in the morning before sunrise. She would go into meditation. And in a non-physical way, she was able to connect to many beings that were in suffering, and she would help them. And she would not stop her meditation until she had helped a quite high number of beings. So many times she would skip lunch because of that, and she would stay a long time in this meditation, helping many beings. And she was extremely wise and kind. So at that time she was known as Tara, the Liberator. Tara means the one that liberates from suffering. So at that time, some of the religious people of the time, let's call the monks of the time, are said, which were not Buddhists because it was before Buddha Shakyamuni, okay? So they came to her and they said, oh, you know, princess, you are so great and you are so wonderful, you have so much wisdom and so much kindness, you are so special, we are so grateful to you, and you are always in our prayers. We truly pray that may you reach enlightenment for the benefit of every sentient being, and in order to do that, we pray that you may be reborn as a man. Okay. And she answered back saying, I will reach enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, but in the body of a woman. She said, many are wanting to reach enlightenment in the body of a man. I want to do in the body of a woman. Because truly that which reaches enlightenment is not the external body, but is a deeper level of the mind. And that is not male or female. No? And so she did. So she reached enlightenment within a female form. That's why she's also one of the representations of enlightenment in a female aspect. No? And for me, Tara is one of the clear proofs and examples that truly in Buddhism there is no difference between the spiritual capacity of man and woman. It's one of the clear signs of this. And since that time, Tara has been known for many, I don't know, centuries is not even the right word, it's even longer than that, for thousands of years, before the time of Buddha and then after the time of Buddha, of helping practitioners and helping sentient beings in many different ways. So what Buddha Shakyamuni did, he introduced his disciples to Tara, saying, look, there is this holy being, and this holy being can help you on your path. So, it's not a matter of help doesn't mean, oh, do for me. Help means walk with me, interact with me, bless me. A blessing means an interaction that helps us to transform our mind, to understand what we couldn't understand before. It's like support. It's like, as I said in the beginning, it's not someone walking for us, it's someone accompanying us on our path. Okay? So, Buddha introduced his disciples to that. That's the time in which Buddha also explained there are so many ways how Tara manifested during all this time. And many ways how Tara could manifest. That's where we have the 21 Taras prayers coming from also. Okay? The 21 Taras is like 21 different, it's not 21 different beings. It's the same Tara, which is manifesting in different ways according to the different needs. No? So, since the time of Buddha, after that, there have been one, let's say tradition is not exactly the right word, but let's call it tradition, in which Buddha introduced his disciples to Tara. They were able to keep this connection alive. And then they introduced Tara to their own disciples, who kept this connection alive. And then they introduced again. Okay? There is one concept which is important for us to understand here. I will try to make it simple. When we are, let's say we are walking on the road, on the street, and there is someone there that is in need of help, okay? If this person have a connection with us, or if this person is just, let's say, saying, oh, I need help, is one thing. If this person looks to us, calls by our name, and say, I need help, does it make a difference? Basically what happens is that it entitles us to be able to help. It opens a door. And on the other side, when we are walking and we see someone, if there is a connection between us, it naturally makes it easier to see the need of the other and to connect with the other. Okay? So it is said that one being of great love and compassion, like a Buddha, has a level of compassion which is for everyone in the same way. It's not like, okay, I have more attraction and compassion to you, less to the other one, checking how good you behave so I can help you more or less. There is no such type of thing. But on the other side, so it is like, if we use a metaphor, it is like a radio transmitter that is sending this beautiful music everywhere in the same way. But then depend on the other side, how much, if we know the right frequency, and if we know how to tune correctly. Because if we don't know the frequency, maybe by chance we can get it, but that's quite difficult. And even if we know the frequency, but we don't know how to tune correctly, we cannot listen to the music. Okay? So what happened is that what Buddha Shakyamuni did was that he created this connection. He said, okay, Tara is there, he has the connection with Tara. And then he went to his disciple and said, look, there is this holy being, you can connect with Tara. This is the way how I introduce you to Tara, and this is how you can keep the connection alive, so that you can tune correctly so Tara can actually help you on your path. And this gradually became what we know by initiation. So the process of initiation basically is when Buddha Shakyamuni introduced his disciples introduced their disciples, and like this went on and on and on. They were able to keep this relationship, this connection alive, and they were passing it one generation after the other. Okay? So in our tradition, Tara has become one of the most important connections and practices that exists in Buddhism in general, in Tibetan Buddhism for sure, no any doubt. Especially for us, because following the lineage that comes from Lama Tsongkhapa and before that from Atisha, the main support that Atisha had was from Tara. For example, when Atisha needed to go, he was invited to go to Tibet. He was very important, and he had a very important role in India, in Bangladesh at the time, in the monastery of Vikramashila. So it was not obvious for him to give all that up and to go to Tibet. So imagine a big monastic university, and he was the main teacher there. He was really important. Many. He had hundreds and thousands of disciples there. And then come some people from this faraway land of Tibet, which was seen as a very, wild place. It was very wild, Tibet. And, and they come to invite and ask this great master to come there, and it was very dangerous travel and so on. So Atisha, in order to understand what was the best thing to do, he went on retreat, on Tara retreat. And one moment during the retreat, he had this vision. There was the statue of Tara, and Tara talked to him, saying to him, look, if you go to Tibet, your life will be shorter, but it will be of greater benefit for the Dharma and sentient beings than if you stay where you are. So he chose to go. And the statue actually that spoke to Atisha, let's say, it's found in Bodh Gaya in India. In the entrance where before going to the main temple of Bodh Gaya, on the left side, there is a small temple and it's inside there. But during the whole lifetime, Atisha always relied upon Tara for support, for advice, like constantly. And also, Atisha's main disciple was called Dromtom Gyalwe Jungne, was a lay practitioner called the Dromtompa. And he had a vision of Tara very clear, in which Tara said to him, I will take care of your future generations' disciples. I will look after them. And in all this lineage, all the great masters, if we think about everyone, from our near masters such as Drupal Kanche Rinpoche or Trichan Rinpoche, Papongka Rinpoche, and we go back to the Gyalwa Gendun Drup, come to my mind, the first Dalai Lama. For example, the monastery of Tashilumpo in Tibet, the place where the monastery is done, is where Gyalwa Gendun Drup had a vision of Tara. So he saw in this mountain Tara sitting, and there he placed the monastery. That's where he founded the monastery, which is like sitting on the lap of Tara. Is the monastery. So if you go now, you can always see in the monastery they paint 3 stones white on top, on the back of Tashilumpo. When you come next year together to Tibet, you can see. There is 3 stones like a triangle painted in white, which represents the face and the 2 breasts of Tara. And the monastery is in the lap of Tara. And there are so many signs and so many important stories of like many practitioners that had their support in their path, like on a subtle way, their support on their spiritual path, they relied upon Tara. At one point, one of these practitioners had some health issues. And now I have it written here, all the names and so on, but now if I go to look for it, it takes very much longer, and our names, that doesn't mean much for most of us, so it doesn't make that much difference. The fact was that this great master had some serious health issues, so he relied upon Tara for help. He went to Tara and he made many prayers and practices and so on. And from this he had this vision of Tara saying, okay, you need to do the mantra in this way, and manifest it as the white Tara. And since that time, that's how gradually it was transmitted from one master to another, many centuries passed, of a way of relating to Tara in order to ask blessings for good health and long life, which is the manifestation of the 7 eyes white Tara, which we call white Tara.